Drive ignition.
This is Actar's Reviews, from anime to figures and beyond. Hey, this is Actar and you're watching another episode of Actar's Figure Reviews. So today we're going to take a look at Figma Kagami Hiiragi cosplay version. And yes, that is the official name of this Figma, even though people have been calling her KagaMiku or Miku Miku Kagami. Personally, I prefer the name KagaMiku because it's just Kagami and Miku squashed together to form KagaMiku. Really interesting, really creative way of calling her, and that's the name I'm going to use to refer to her from now on. And KagaMiku is actually the second of the two cosplay figures ever created, and that is to say cosplay figures meaning characters cosplaying as characters from another series altogether. So this figure is Kagami cosplaying as Miku, and is the first ever mass release cosplay figure. While the first ever cosplay Figma was actually Figma Konata cosplay version, and is of Konata cosplaying as Haruhi, but this one was released as a Wonderfest exclusive last year and it's only limited to 5,000 copies. So back to KagaMiku. Now I can see the appeal of cosplay characters. I mean, considering the fact that they are a character cosplaying as another character, you can see that they are encompassing the best of both characters. And I would really love to see more of such cosplay figures being released in the future. So in the Lucky Star OVA, we see that during a sketch, Kagami dreamt of herself as a Cinderella-esque character and Konata being her fairy godmother. And on their way to the ball, Konata came up with her own ideas for a gown for Kagami. So, well, she dressed her up as a maid, she dressed her up as Miko, a shrine maiden, she dressed her up as Rin, and finally she settled on Miku Hatsune before the Starling Inferno broke. And of course, Konata herself was cosplaying as Yuki, cosplaying as an evil witch from the episode 00, The Adventures of Mikuru Asahina from the series Suzumiya Haruhi no Yutsu. Wow, that was a mouthful. Now that you know how KagaMiku came to be, let's take a look at the box. So the box here, we see that it is in an exceedingly vibrant color scheme. The yellow and the red the pink really complement each other. The lines especially and the stars in the background really give a very lively and vibrant feel to the background. I like how they actually implemented the Starling Inferno and the magic sparkles into the front cover to give the appearance that Kagami has just been turned into KagaMiku. So continuing on, we see that this is Figma number 35, Kagami Hiiragi cosplay version. We've been through that at the start. At the sides here, we see KagaMiku striking a very lovely pose. At the back, we have the usual collection of pictures detailing KagaMiku in various poses and the accessories which she comes with. We see here that it states that the faces for KagaMiku can be exchanged with the faces for Kagami, Figma Kagami, and vice versa. But considering that both of them have the exact same head sculpt, this is to be expected, but well, it's nice that they pointed it out. So without further ado, let me open the figure and we'll dive straight into the review. Now this background is actually just a full version of the background that we've seen in the box itself, on the box itself. So it's pretty nice and it can be used pretty much for a photo. Here is the figure itself in her plastic casing. So let's open it up and take a look at the figure itself. Here is Figma KagaMiku straight out of the box and ready to go to the ball. Just take a look at that. She is absolutely well detailed and really good looking. She has to be the cutest thing I've ever seen. Wow, she really does encompass the best of both Miku and Kagami. We can see that she is obviously dressed as Miku, but she still retains her Kagami hairstyle, even though her hair strands are much longer than that of regular Kagamis, as can be seen here. So before taking a look at the figure itself, we're going to take a look at the accessories in which the figure comes with. So first of all, we have the standard stuff. The standard stuff, the basics, are the Figma Ziploc bag. This is again very useful. So next we have the Figma base and the Figma 3-jointed stand. So we have the usual rack of hands that comes with all the other Figmas, and something interesting to note is that the hands have returned to the ball jointed hands, meaning that there's actually a ball at the end of the hand unlike the one on Hoshimura Makina, which was just a simple peg. I do believe it has to do with the fact that Hoshimura Makina doesn't have any sleeves of any kind, so maybe the pegged hands were only for Figmas without sleeves. Whatever the case, I really hope they actually make the change permanently to the hands with just pegs. Really lowers the risk of the pegs breaking off in the arm itself. So now we get to the character specific accessories, and what would KagaMiku be without her legs? And we see that there are actually 2 included with her. Something interesting to note once again is that the legs are different from the one that came with Figma Miku. As you can see here, the one on Figma Miku only has 2 stalks at the tip, but the ones that come with Figma KagaMiku has 3. And last but not least, she comes with an exchangeable face, which shows her angry and frustrated at Konata. Who else? Bringing back the figure, let's take a look at the articulation that the figure has to offer. So first of all, we have the head, which is on a ball joint. Can look up and down, left and right with absolutely no problems whatsoever. The hair is on a ball joint and is articulated, so you can pose hair whichever way you want, whether she's flying, jumping, or even if the wind is blowing in her hair, you can pose the hair to match whatever situation she's in. Nice added posability there. For her arms, we have the standard posability, forwards, backwards, in and out, and you can turn side to side slightly as well because the arm is on a ball joint. So the hands are actually articulated at the wrist, and you can rotate them and we can move them forwards and backwards. We see that there is actually a waist joint, and this waist joint has been present on a number of Figmas recently, but I haven't really been commenting on that because I really can't see the use of this particular waist joint. I mean, the figure can move at the waist joint, or should I call it chest joint? I'm not really sure. It can move slightly, but it's really insignificant, so I didn't really find the need to point it out, but well, it's there just to let you know. So the waist joint, she does have a waist joint, and she has a double waist joint, once above, once at the waist itself and once below the waist, so lots of articulation there. Note that the soft PVC is actually used for her skirt this time as well. And her legs, standard articulation there, forwards, backwards, in and out. You can rotate side to side like so. And at the knee, she can move forwards and backwards, and the feet can move forwards, backwards, turn side to side, and be moved side to side this way as well. So that's pretty much it articulation wise for the figure. Now, some interesting details I actually forgot to point out during the my first run through of the figure. You can actually see, instead of a 01 over here, you can actually see KH, which obviously stands for Kagami Hiiragi. That's very interesting. And over here, instead of that electronic pattern, we see the Lucky Star cat. This is two of the details that I actually forgot to point out in my earlier review of the figure. So as you can see, the figure is really incredibly detailed. And the last thing I want to mention is that some people think the cosplay characters aren't really that worth it because they could just take the head of the Kagami Figma and actually just replace it on Figma Miku if you really own both. But to tell the truth, that way it would look pretty weird considering the fact that the body for Figma KagaMiku and the body for Figma Miku are absolutely different in terms of their proportions. The Lucky Star figures have a fairly different proportioned body from the regular figures like Figma Miku and Figma Kagami, Figma Miku and Figma Haruhi, so on and so forth. And well, it just really doesn't fit, and the head doesn't really fit the body, and it will look really out of place. So I highly recommend picking up this Figma if you're actually a fan of Lucky Star, fan of Miku, or fan of the Lucky Star OVA in general. It is a fantastic show, a fantastic addition to the Lucky Star franchise. So in conclusion, Figma KagaMiku is a definite worthy Figma to be added to your collection, and of course, as all Figmas go, she has a fantastic amount of posability, wonderful accuracy to the show, and just all around awesome. And so, this is Zach saying, see you guys in the next episode. I don't remember these pair of hands being ever included before in any other Figma. Kind of look familiar, don't you think? Nah. And likewise, Figma KagaMiku's faces are compatible with Figma Kagami, and as you can... yeah.